Afternoon, my beautiful people. Okay, so today we're going to be doing trinomials. All right, so it's a nice factorizing method that we like to use in grade 10 and also grade 9, and also throughout high school, even in university. All right, so so how do we start? Okay, so I want you guys to look at something quickly. Let's look at this. Okay, if I told you to simplify this, okay, what are you exactly going to do? Okay, you're just going to multiply each term with each term. Okay, so I'm going to take this a, I'm going to multiply it here. Okay, a times a is a squared. Okay, a times negative 1 is negative a. Negative 4 times a is negative 4a. And negative 4 times negative 1 is positive 4. Okay, and then we just add our like terms and we get the answer of a squared minus 5a plus 4. Okay. Now I want you guys to look at this for just for a second. Okay. So if you look at this term here, okay, this 4, right, and you look at these two terms here. Okay, I've got negative 4 and I've got negative 1a. Okay. So that 4 and that 1, can you guys see that those are factors of this last term? Okay, so basically what we did here is we had numbers in these brackets, okay, that when we multiplied out we got to these terms here, okay, and they were the factors of this, okay, 4, okay, the factors of 4 is 4 and 1, and also 2 and 2, okay, but in this case we used the factors of 4 and 1, okay, made them both negative, and we got our middle term. Okay, so when we subtracted negative a and negative 4a, we got negative 5a. Okay, that's something cool that I want you guys to just take note of for a second. Okay, and then this a squared we got from multiplying a with a. Okay, so now we're going to try and factorize. Okay, so in the next few minutes, okay, we're going to try and go from this stage here. Alright, and we're going to try and reverse it back to this stage over here. Okay, so we're going to factorize. Alright, so let's look at this example here. Okay, so firstly what we're going to do is we have to first always look for a common factor. Okay, before I do anything factorizing anything, okay, I'm always going to look for my common factor. Okay, so if I look at these three terms, is there anything common? No, there's nothing common. Okay, this should actually be an A. I apologize. Okay, it should be an A. Okay, I apologize for that. Alright. And the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to look at the sign of this last term. Okay, so over here I know it's positive. Okay, so let's just go back to this previous slide. Okay, in order for this term, all right, this last term to be positive, okay, I either need to have a negative multiplying with a negative to give me a positive. Okay, negative 4 times negative 1 is a positive 4, or I'm going to have a positive 4 multiplied with a positive 4 to give me a positive. Okay, so the two signs, the two possible outcomes for the brackets, or the signs of the brackets, are either plus and a plus, or a minus and a minus. Sorry, and a minus. Alright, so a positive times a positive gives me a positive, or a negative and a negative gives me a positive. Okay, so if I look at this last term, okay, I already know what possible signs I'm going to have in the brackets without even doing anything. Okay, I see it's positive. I know it can either be two positives or two negatives. Okay, those are my two options. Okay, so option 1 and there's option 2. Okay, now which option do I think it is? Okay, which option can it be? Alright, so let's just go back here. So originally we had two negatives inside the bracket here. Okay, there's two negatives. There we go, two negatives. Alright, and when I multiplied this a with this negative 1, I got a negative a. Okay, and when I multiplied this a with this negative 4, I got a negative 4a. When I added them, or when I minused them, I got a negative 5a. So can you see that this sign over here is the same as the signs that are inside my bracket. Okay, so if this was positive, both of those would be positive. Okay, this is negative, so both of those are negative. Alright, so now let's look here. Okay, so I know it's either one of these or one of those. Okay, so it's one of those options. Okay, so now I'm going to look at the second term, and I see it's negative. Okay, cool. So I know that it's going to be this option here. I know that both signs in my bracket are both going to be negative. Okay, so get that out of the way. Alright, and then what goes in the front here? So if I go back again, if I go back, okay, I had an a squared minus 5a plus 4. Okay, and then how did I get to this a squared? What was inside my bracket? I had a multiplied with a to give me a squared. Okay, so let's just replicate that. Okay, so we're going to have a multiplied with a, okay, to give me a squared. Right, and then how did I get these last terms inside my brackets here? Okay, let's go back again, let's refresh. Alright, so I saw that I had a positive 4 here. Okay, and I see that the numbers inside here are the factors of this last term here. So the factors of 4. Okay, so what are the factors of 4? Factors of 4 are 4 and 1, and 2 and 2. And I know that they are both going to be negative. So I've got a negative 4 and negative 1, and a negative 2 and a negative 2. Alright, but now, these factors, when I add them together, what do they have to add up to? What do you think? Okay, they've got to add up to my middle term here, negative 5. So let's go back again. Okay, so when I multiplied this a with this negative 1, I got negative a. Negative 4 times a gave me negative 4a. And when I added those together, I got negative 5a. Okay, so when I add my factors, they need to give me whatever the middle term is. Okay, so now which pair of factors, when I add them, give me negative 5? Okay, it has to be this one. Okay, this one gives me negative 4. Okay, the middle term is not negative 4. Okay, but this one, negative 4 minus 1, is negative 5. Okay, so now I can just put that 4 and that 1 inside my bracket. I've got 4 and I've got 1. Okay, so minus 4 minus 1 gives me minus 5. And then when you multiply the a in, you get that a over there. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Alright, let's just dive into some examples quickly. Okay, let's look at example 1. Okay, so over here, again, we've got 3 terms. Okay, so we know it's going to be a trinomial meaning 3 terms. Alright, so they say factorize. Okay, so I know already that I'm going to open up 2 brackets. Boom, boom, and boom, boom. Alright, what is the first thing I look at? I first look at if there's a common factor. Okay, is there a common factor amongst these 3 terms? No, there's no common factor. Okay, so now what's the first thing I always look at? I always look at something first. I look at the sign of the last term. Okay, that sign is a positive. Okay, so what do I know about that positive? I know that the signs inside of my bracket are either going to be positive and positive or negative and negative. Okay, because a negative times a negative gives me a positive times a positive gives me a positive. Okay, now what? Now I need to decide which pair it is. It's either plus plus or minus minus. Now which one is it? Okay, I don't know. Okay, so now I need to look at my second term here. Okay, what is this sign? Okay, I see it's a positive, so which option am I going to use? I'm going to use this one over here. Good. Okay, so whatever the sign of that middle term is, it's going to be the signs that I'm going to use here. Okay, so I've got plus and I've got plus. Alright, then how did I get to this a squared here? What have to multiply with each other? Okay, a had to multiply with a times a gives me a squared. And now how did I get whatever goes here? Alright, I asked myself, okay, what are the factors of 12? Okay, so what are the factors of 12? Okay, let's do that together. Okay, the factors of 12, okay, are 1 and 12, 1 and 12, okay, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. Okay, now I look at the signs. Okay, they're both positive. Okay, cool, so I can put positives in front of all these factors. Plus, 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 plus. Alright, and now let's see if I add all of these. Okay, I need to look at the one that gives me 7. Okay, so 1 plus 12, that gives me 13. Okay, I know that that's not 7, so it's not this pair of factors. Okay, what is 6 plus 2? Positive 8. Alright, I know that 7 and 8 are not the same thing, so I know it's not that pair of factors. Alright, and now let's look at 3 and 4. Okay, 3 plus 4 gives me positive 7. Okay, now I'm on the right track. Okay, 7 and 7 are the same thing. Okay, so now I can just plug in that 4 and that 3 into these empty spots here that I have. Okay, so I've got a 4 there, and I've got a 3 over there. Okay, I'm hoping this is making sense now. Alright, now let's look at a little bit of a different example that we have here. Okay, so first thing I always do before I do anything, I always look for what? I look for a common factor. Okay, so is there a common factor here? No, there's no common factor there. Okay, so there's no common factor. Okay, so I can just open up my brackets because I am factorizing. Okay, I'm going to factorize now. Alright, so I look at my last term. Okay, I see now that that is now a negative. Okay, so now it's a little bit different to the previous examples we did. Okay, but that's okay. Alright, so what two possible signs in this bracket, okay, are going to give me a negative? I know that a positive and a positive is going to give me a positive. Okay, a positive multiplied by a positive. A negative multiplied by a negative is also going to give me a positive. But now what two signs are going to give me a negative? A positive multiplied with a negative is going to give me a negative all the time. Okay, so when I see that that last term is negative, I know that my signs are going to be a positive and a negative inside those brackets. Okay, positive and a negative. Okay, alright, I hope that makes sense. Alright, and how did I get to my x squared there? Same thing as this previous example. We said a times a gave me a squared, so x times x is going to give me x squared. Alright, now again, same thing. Okay, how did I get these last terms inside my brackets? I asked myself, what are the factors of 12, okay, that add up to positive 7? Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing. Okay, so let's get to my factors of 12. Okay, so I've got 1 and 12. Okay, I've got 2 and 6. And I've got 3 and 4. Okay, so now the difference is that I've got a positive and I've got a negative. Okay, so now I need to know which pair of factors, or which factor needs to get the positive and which one needs to get the negative. Okay, so now I don't know which one's going to get the positive, which one's going to get the negative. But now let's just use some logic. Okay, so I see that my middle term is negative. Okay, so if you just take some random numbers, okay, and let's say you take 6 minus 5. Okay, 6 is bigger than 5, alright, and that's going to give me 1, positive 1. But now let's reverse that quickly. Okay, can you see that the smaller number got the negative, okay, to give me a positive answer? So now let's switch that. So let's say positive 5 minus 6. Okay, 6 is bigger than 5. Okay, now 6 has gotten the negative. Okay, so what is 5 minus 6? Negative 1. Okay, so can you see that when we make the bigger number negative, we always end up with a negative answer? Let's try another example. Okay, so if we took 7 minus 5, okay, the bigger number is positive, therefore my answer is going to be positive. Okay, but if the bigger number is negative, my answer is going to be negative. Okay, so can you see that the bigger number, whatever that sign is, so if this is positive, my answer is going to be positive. If the bigger number is negative, my answer is going to be negative. Okay, so I know that my answer has to be negative. So which one of these factors have to be negative? The bigger one or the smaller one? The bigger one. Very good. Okay, so if I make the biggest factors negative, the bigger one negative, and the bigger one negative here, right? All of these answers are going to be negative answers. Okay, so let's see. Okay, what is positive 1 minus 12? Negative 11. Okay, so negative 11 is not what I'm looking for, so I can cross that out. Okay, what is 2 minus 6? It's negative 4. Okay, I'm looking for a negative 1. Okay, that is not my answer. Alright, and positive 3 minus 4, that's going to give me negative 1. Okay, that is what I'm looking for. Awesome stuff. Okay, so now let's check. Okay, so which factor was negative? The 4, so I'm going to put the 4 with the negative. Okay, and which factor was positive? The 3. Okay, so I'm going to put that factor with the positive. Okay, hoping that makes sense. Okay, if it doesn't make sense, just pause the video, rewind a little bit, and then just see, just watch that video again. Okay, or just that part again. Okay, so let's carry on practicing. Right, let's look at these. Okay, first thing I always do, I look for a common factor. Is there a common factor there? No, there's no common factor. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up two brackets because I'm factorizing. Very good. Alright, so now I look at this. Look at my last term. Always, I see that it's positive. So what does that mean? If it's positive, I know that my signs can possibly be positive and positive or negative and negative. Which combination am I going to use here? Good, I'm going to use the negative one. How did you know that? Okay, because we see that the negative is with my second term here. So whatever sign is my second term. Okay, so yeah, I see it's a negative. I'm going to choose whatever that sign is over there. Okay, so if it's negative, I put negative, negative. Okay, how do I get to that a squared there? Yes, a and a. Right, and then how do I fill in these gaps here? I'll ask myself, okay, what are the factors of 12? Okay, factors of 12 is 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. Alright, I know that they all are negative, 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 negative. Alright, now I need to see which combination gives me negative 8. Okay, so negative 12 minus 1 is negative 13. Okay, it's not this one. Alright, negative 2 minus 6 is negative 8. Awesome, there we go. There's my answer. I didn't even have to look at this one. Okay, so there's my negative 8. And then I just plug the values in. Okay, so I've got 6 over there, and I've got 2 over there. Alright, let's move on. Okay, let's look at this example here. Alright, so I see, first thing I always look at is I need to first see if there's a common factor. Okay, so is there a common factor there? No, there's no common factor. Okay, so I can begin opening up my brackets. Boom, 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 boom. Alright, I see that this is a positive. So what does that mean? Signs are either positive, positive, or negative, negative. Which combination am I going to use? The negative, okay, because my second term is negative. Do you guys see that? Okay, so I've got negative and negative. Alright, how did I get to a squared there? A times a. Alright, and now I need to ask myself, what are the factors of 12? Okay, again, factors of 12 is 1 and 12, 2 and 6, and 3 and 4. Alright, so I know that they're all going to be negative, 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 and negative. Okay, so I need to look for the answer of negative 13. Okay, so what is negative 1 minus 12? Oh, awesome. Okay, so it's negative 13. Good. I don't have to do any work there. Easy peasy. Alright, so look at those factors. Fill in the gaps, and I've got 1 and 12. Okay, so negative 1 minus 12 gives me negative 13. Okay, I'm hoping this is a lot better for you guys. Alright, so in the next video, I'm going to go through some more complicated examples of trinomials. Okay, ones where you have a coefficient in front of your a squared or your x squared. So it's going to look something like that. Alright, and we're going to dive deep into how we can solve some of those. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed this video.